Okay, let's start. Ernesto will explain you the task for the next class.
Okay, so this is your assignment for the next session.
The second one.
It's investigate the scientific discoveries that might represent a disruptive approach for radical problem solving. So it's a mouthful, but basically what you have to do is to write a white paper. Have you ever heard about the concept of a white paper before? Those who are nodding and say yes. So what is white paper?
Well, I have read a lot of white papers, but they are like explanations semi-scientifically of how the thing that they want to solve works. And it's
Excellent. So that's it. It's a perfect explanation. It's you might find it probably when you look for new products in the market. So if you, I don't know, if you are curious about a flying car, for example, I'm going to say a stupid example, no? Flying car, and then you look for flying car, Google, you find. And then there is a company that says that they have a flying car. A serious company will put a white paper, and a white paper is exactly a document, not more than 4 or 5 pages, so it's like quite compact, that is semi-scientific. So it will explain what is a flying car, how does it work, what is the science behind it. So I might say, okay, so a flying car has a turbine, right? And a turbine is like a device that with fuel, it will rotate very fast and it will make a thrust force, you know, and then the thrust force will defeat the gravity force of the car and it will fly, you know. So it's like what includes science, includes basic concepts, includes probably the more serious proofs of concept. So maybe the guy says like, we build a prototype, whatever, and this prototype has these components and we put it to fly for 5 minutes and this was the expense, you know. So depending how serious, how deep is the information that is contained in a white paper. So you explain it very, very well, very concrete. White paper is something, a document that people will take you seriously when you have a product or a service that involves technology. So that's it. And we want you to do something similar. We want you to start thinking about how you can make it work, your idea for solving a problem. So that you make your basic research about the phenomena that is involved in your solution. So here I present you more detailed explanation. So your task is to investigate the early stage of scientific research, basic or applied. So it can be from papers or it can be from an experiment, whatever you find out there, in various fields that can give you new insights on the problem solving. Propose and write a white paper that describes the possible application of this science in your problem. And in the paper, they define your hypothesis to validate. So maybe the hypothesis is we can filter water inexpensively. We can reclaim water from rain. We can make a reliable energy source from whatever. You know?
By using this principle, no? We think that this principle written in this scientific paper, we can use and borrow into this solution. Yeah?
So also we want you to think about a list of influencers in the scientific and technological field that you should contact. So why this? Because in the next stage in the process in this course, we will ask you to make interviews. We will ask you to call these people to validate your hypothesis, right? So
in this stage, that's in this stage.
Okay, so you better start identifying who are those key players. First, that are knowledgeable, that can give you answers. Second, that they will probably respond to you, right? If you try to write an email to Elon Musk, most probably he will not answer, right? So you need to have your options and identify those people that you can rely on. Maybe it's a professor from here, maybe it's a guy from industry, whatever. So make the list. Validate the paper with the experts, scientists, technologists, investigators. So maybe you will not have time to say, here it goes, read it, give me your feedback. Probably not. So maybe you will contact them and say, look, we are trying to make, I don't know, for hunger, I heard there was a concept for hunger. So we want to end hunger with GMOs that do this and this and that. So, and we search these two research job works that they might apply, and then you will try to validate with them. You say like, do you think that with this research applied to this problem, it's a solution? You will try to validate that. Maybe those scientists will say, you know, those are things from the 80s. Now there is a new thing that is called whatever, nanotechnology, that is doing this much better than what you read, and with these outcomes, and check it out. So that's what we want to promote, that you validate and you learn more from this interaction. So maybe you have to rewrite the paper. Maybe they will say, you know, this is the new guy from MIT, from Stanford, check them out. You will see, yeah, you know, he's right, so let me change everything what the professor said or what the scientist said, and define variables of your problem that you need to investigate for the next session. So what are the things that you say, for example, like again with the energy, you will say, you know, maybe one thing that we need to investigate is how we will store this energy, because if we want to get, I don't know, energy from a hurricane, you know, with lots of energy, so how are we going to store it? We will maybe need lots of batteries, or maybe that's not or maybe we can use the energy to buffer it in, I don't know, in some material, and to fuse the material, or to make water steam, and then, I don't know. So you have to start thinking about next steps of this research that you need to investigate to know if this project is going to work. So what is the output? What you need to make, and what do you need to bring for the next session? You need to bring a 10-minute presentation to present your result. So it can be a PowerPoint, whatever you decide to use. 10 minutes to present your research and the results, and the white paper review. So a document, 5, 6, 7 pages, 10, I don't know. Don't make it like a 20-page report or paper. No, it's something very concrete, very objective, with the research that is useful. If in that iteration you found out that your first version is not very relevant, then make it into the second version, and that's the one that you need.
And keep 2 versions. So because iteration, basically the most valuable part also is that you document each process. You write, you investigate, you find interesting things, you write, you contact 30 people, you get the feedback, validation of your hypothesis from the white paper of those people, you take it on, you rewrite, you write all the other questions that you have to answer, and all the other things that you have to investigate. That's how you build up the knowledge.
Now, any questions? Do you guys have any questions about this topic? It's important. We can discuss if you have any questions. Is it super clear?
Sometimes it's really hard to contact with people in time that's really short.
True, true.
So I don't know if any kind of case that they don't reply, or we cannot validate the thought.
I think you need to validate. Don't, like, the worst thing ever is to send an email. I know that you guys love to send emails, but that's the worst way of communication. Why? Because, you know, I get every day more than 120 emails, and you know how I respond to emails? Like, yes, no, maybe, do it, don't do it. And if I get an email from someone that is asking me for like a long and detailed email, you know, I'm not going to answer it.
Paper also.
Really, like, I'm not. So just put yourself in the other side of the coin, and really think if you will answer the question. Maybe the answer is no. So you have to go. You know, you have to go and maybe take 3-4 minutes of the time of the person, and have like very specific questions, very concrete questions. Maybe that person will say, you know, I'm too busy, I cannot help you. But then you can go to the 3 or 4 people below that person. Yeah. Again, if I'm thinking, let's say a professor, maybe, right? Maybe professors are too busy, but those professors have 3 or 4 PhD students. So go with the students. Like, say, can I talk to your students because I have to validate these questions? Yeah, sure. So students are mostly available for that. Mm-hmm. And people, you know, underestimate students, but students are very good. So you can get more information, more discussion, more insight from students because they have more time than from a top-level researcher or professor. So yeah, it's little time, but if you plan it well, I think, of course, you can do it. You're 4 or 5 people in the team, so you need to talk with 4 or 5 people each. So
there are 2 ways, as Ernesto says. Like writing emails, like your success rate might be lower. But if you pinpoint the things that people are interested about, they will answer you. For example, in each paper, you can check who are the authors, and you can contact the authors of the paper. If you have very specific question from to the paper creator about the topic, and if that's interesting enough for that person will answer you, because that person will understand that you have a special interest in the topic. So you have to understand that you don't abuse people's time, but you want to create something upon what they have created. So you have to ask people in such a way that they see that you create value for them as well. No, so you have to learn. That's why it's like fame in love. You have to learn how to ask for help, because if you ask for a favor that brings no value to people will not answer. So also another question is how I start investigating, how I search those, because you have to use science like an exponential science. This phenomenon that is now on the height might actually help you. So use the exponential principle that exponential technologies that Ernesto explained you, and look for the exponential publications that can help you with and apply it into the field of your interest. That's the whole point. And I would recommend you to use, for example, Gartner. In Gartner, you can check technology hype cycles. It doesn't mean that it will happen, because it's what people think, but it tells you the predictions, what people think will be the new science and technology in the future. So it can help you to search in Google Scholar with the keywords. Use Google Scholar. With Google Scholar, you can really check which are the papers of high impact, which are the papers of low impact, which are the people that keep on repeating. So you have to do this search.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Nicolas.
My question was where, and if we actually have to investigate something that is working, or how would we find something that's not, if it's not working, if it's just on its basic stage, maybe it's not published, or where would someone publish, and why would they publish?
That's why it's a white paper. So maybe the results are not published, but you will understand the principle, So
where do they publish those things, and why?
Why people publish? People publish because people are curious. They want to share knowledge. People publish because they want to create a community. So you need to find who is publishing.
There are incentives, because for me, for example, I'm a SNI. I'm a member of the Sistema Nacional de Investigadores. So we get paid for that. So it's like a career incentive. In other countries, people get paid when they publish papers, when they are in academia, right? So it's an incentive. Your productivity is also tied up with your salary increases in some universities. So people have,
it's personal brand, it's opportunity for getting funds, it's finding people that do the research in the same field. If you want to be famous, you look for citations, so you want others to reference you as a guru or as an expert in the field. So lots of different people have different actually reasons why they do what they do.
It's like a science Instagram. Every paper is like a picture that you publish on Instagram, and you hope for likes and shares, and pretty much the same. But
other than Gartner, is there a Instagram for the science paper?
No. Gartner is like they do analytics, so they sell intelligence for technology road mapping. So they tell you for every technology what is the cycle of adoption of every technology. So they will tell you, for example, virtual reality, but now it's almost there, right? Now the cycle is like in 5 years, everyone will have virtual reality for entertainment, I don't know, whatever, right? And they scope technologies according to that. So for every technology, there is a cycle, and that's how you can see how, like, more or less when that technology will be available for the consumer market.
If I can give you some tip how to start doing it, because you are not used to do lots of scientific research, I would advise you to go to the library and ask what kind of databases you have. And databases is also, there is a market for that. So each database address different needs, because they also need to have specific markets, because they cannot compete. So each database is giving you different kind of results and different kind of searches. So check what are the databases. No, check Gartner. Who has used Gartner? So check Gartner is a good opportunity to start. What are the hypes that people inflate? No, so it's good. Who knows how to use Goldfire Innovator? You had it. Goldfire Innovator is here. If you want to learn a bit more, we can put you in contact with the professor that is expert in that. That he can explain you how to use Goldfire Innovator to check what are the patents, what are the patents that are finishing. That's also another opportunity, no? To do something. No, but it doesn't have to be exponential. Sometimes when patent is getting out, it means that it's already going on the market. It's not exponential, but it might help you. You basically have to do the research. We can
get the engine exponential to get another one from there. The one
you can. You have to understand basically all that research is that you understand what is going on. Yeah, what is going on, and the biggest advantage is that I know what is the scientific and technological breakthroughs now, and I know how to analyze it, how to synthesize it, and how to transform it into a new proposal that I will do in white paper. It's a very complex task. So divide your resources in your team very wisely, because you will have lots of job to do for that.
That's for next week.
Yes. Next week, and get at least 30 responses. And if somebody does not answer you right away, you have the entire semester. Those questions or those answers you might be receiving later. Any other questions? Okay, so that will be all.
Great. So